Estaba viendo, chicos, el vídeo este de Merluzo, que me lo había pasado alguien de del canal. Me lo había pasado uno a vosotros. Hablando sobre el tema de... No sé, no me acuerdo quién era. Buena Herrera. Buena Hawk. No me acuerdo ahora quién era, pero la verdad que al principio el comentario que hace es así un poquito... Pues lo típico, ¿no? Que parece que va a decir que Star Citizen es un trullo. Pero luego, a medida que avanza el vídeo, lo describe y sí muestra una realidad que vive algunas personas. Y pone al juego en un altar de la hostia.
Hello, everybody. This is an audio test. This is the sound of my voice.
Are
Hey,
you
Will.
sure it's not the sound of my voice?
Oh, it's the sound of Will's voice.
This is
What
a
about-
test from the emergency broadcast system.
It's
This
the
is only a
sound
test.
of Sherry's voice.
In the event of an emergency. I don't remember the rest, but I have that part memorized.
The white zone is for loading and unloading of passenger vehicles.
Most
No
likely a
parking
flex
in the yellow
alert.
zone.
Flex
No.
alert. Hello, hello.
Hey,
No,
there's Adam's
the
voice.
red zone is for unloading passenger vehicles.
I'm tired of this white zone. It's such a good movie. Oh, well, now I have to watch Airplane again this weekend. Never a bad thing. You want to start the show?
No, I'm good.
Seems like a plan.
Here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a... Star Citizen Live, the narrative team Q&A, starring a cavalcade of characters, such as... Adam Weiser!
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hello.
Sherry Heiberg!
What up?
Will Weisbaum!
Hello.
And me!
Who are you?
I'm Jared.
Hi, Jared.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nobody ever welcomes me to the show. It's nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's great having you here.
yeah.
Really
So
glad
glad
to
you
be
could make it.
Really glad to be here.
So this is live?
This is live.
Is there some kind of delay built in just in case we say something wrong?
No. As tradition states, we get one swear word per hour. Now it's one swear word
Oof.
shared amongst the four of us.
Oh,
So that's
What?
It. Yeah,
that is
it's-
bull. Ugh.
The loophole is if we all say it at the same time.
Ah, there we go.
All right, there we go. Save it for the
All
end
right.
of the show. See what word we choose.
At the end, we'll do a 3 count, and we'll all say the first profanity that comes to our mind. And we'll hope it's the same word.
Don't
so-
go anywhere, folks.
So yeah, if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, this is what it is. It's where we hang out at the end of our week and we prattle on incessantly about random airplane quotes and consider just not doing the show because we're often just tired. It's the end of the week. On
It
this
is the
week's
end
show,
of the week.
in this week's show, we have a fine collection of members of our narrative team. The narrative team is responsible for the story foundation of our persistent universe and Squadron 42. There's Will, which
Están haciendo el tema de narrativa porque Discolando estaba jodido y no pudieron hacer el de la semana pasada. Entonces lo pasaron para hoy. Y el peso es la semana que viene. Y bueno, esto es el equipo de narrativa que se dedica pues a llenar de historias el lore, ¿no? De historias el Star Citizen, tanto pues para muchas cosas, o sea, tanto para Escuadrón 42 como para el PU, etcétera.
Jared's show background. No, it's just my dirty bedroom that I still haven't unpacked yet. When we did our first show in the UK,
No son los únicos del equipo narrativa, o sea, hay más gente.
the background is exactly the same as it was 139 days ago. It's still a half-completed IKEA bookshelf and the box for the rest of it. And I'm just not ready to
But you
move.
did complete that game unpacking, so that's kind of weird.
That was a great game.
It really was a great game.
I never actually
Correct.
played it.
Oh, well, it's a great game.
So, is this all we do on Star Citizen Live?
Oh no, we should talk about Star Citizen.
We're talking about Star Citizen. So, as we are as is our habit to do, we put up a thread up in Spectrum, which is the bespoke communication platform available on robertspacindustries.com, and let our star citizens submit their questions and vote up which ones they wanted to see answered most. We then ignored the voting and chose the ones that we wanted to talk about, as is also our habit. So we have selected those, and we will get started on those now. Additionally, if you're watching live in the chat, you can submit your question with the word question in capital letters surrounded by brackets. That'll help me pull it out from the rest of the chat. Remember that these are members of our narrative team. So if the question is about do we think the what's the SCU space of the Hercules Starlifter? Also, will you nerf the Hercules Starlifter? It's really ruining Jumptown, or any of that stuff like that. These aren't the people. Well, maybe should, but not
trying
not willing.
to trick us and say what's the lore behind the SCU in the Hercules Starlifter.
There's so many questions in the thread that's like, what's the lore reason the Hercules is so overpowered at Jumpdown? And it's just like we're all in a bad 1980s sitcom and have never been sitcom before. All right, so
people in the chat
Están diciendo que la peña, que esta gente solo responde preguntas relacionadas con la narrativa, y que hay peña que intenta hacer el truco de decirle, oye, ¿cuál es el lore detrás de que la Hércules tenga tal carga o tal? En plan de para intentar colar la pregunta igual.
looks to be about one of our favorite alien races, the Tavaran.
Yo soy culpable de ese tipo de preguntas de vez en cuando.
Humans for centuries. Why is there no evidence of their existence in the Stanton system? Why?
Go for it.
Oh, no, you go.
This is just part of staggered development is really the answer. Well, we want to have Tamaran spread throughout the UE as appropriate, and they'll have bigger enclaves that we've talked about in the lore, and maybe we can dive into those a little bit second just for some fun background. But generally it'll come to pass, like how there was no refineries available for players to see until we added refineries, even though in lore, of course, they were refining stuff all the time. So that's our hope and goal. Down the road, we'll have a quarter where we get art and design, environment art, character art. It's a bunch of props, different disciplines that have to focus on creating these kind of elements in order to have the Tavaran in place. And so that's the answer. But there are Tavaran living in the Stanton system in lore.
Están diciendo de por qué no se ven, cuál es el motivo de que no haya Tevarin en Stanton, pero comentan que bueno, que el desarrollo se va haciendo poco a poco de manera escalonada, y que, por ejemplo, pone el ejemplo de las refinerías, que pues no había refinerías hasta que las pudieron implementar en el juego, y que dice que sí, que hay Tevarin, va a haber Tevarin viviendo en Stanton, pero que bueno, que lo harán cuando toque, ¿no?
Not just in them being there, but also maybe their input on, stores and different areas, locations like that too. So, yeah.
Mira, dice que también tendrán tiendas y demás historias los Tevarin.
And you'll definitely see them walking around as part of the regular NPC crowd of humans.
Yeah.
Eso está también bien. Dice que vamos a ver los Tevarin caminando alrededor como vemos a los Tevarin. O sea, a los Tevarin, a los humanos. O sea, que formarán parte de la población general.
And that's a Sherry promise.
That's right.
Nope, I'm not going to say it. All right. So a follow-up question also about aliens. We'll just group some alien ones. Let's talk about aliens for a while. Will NPC aliens ever be added to spaceports, etc.? It would be great to see that kind of diversity and unique behaviors. This seems like pretty similar to the answer, probably the same answer as the one we just gave, right?
Yeah, it's just the same answer. Like Will said, it depends on a lot of factors related to development and related to the different teams.
Se está enrollando la chica y le acaban de hacer la pregunta de si si vamos a ver aliens o NPCs en las estaciones, y dice que bueno, que veremos a Xian y Banu y Banu Kiosks, o sea, tiendas de Banu también.
Various Banu Xi'an signs. Ideally, we would also have Tavaran language signs, although that would be contentious itself.
Dice que también habrá cartelería Banu y cartelería Xi'an, o sea, cartelería Tevarin, perdón. En plan de rollo, pues eso, que tendrán también puestos y demás en tiendas y todo eso.
Did you write that just to excuse not having the Tavaran signs? They don't like them.
No.
That's why we don't have them.
No, I mean, like, even with the contention
Y esta mujer tiene una voz que me revienta el tímpano, ¿eh? Está el micro hecho una mierda.
of our language signs around, I would
Uh,
say.
And different locations that would embrace those signs too, or want to
Mhm.
maybe convert some of the human standard stuff into
Es,
their.
es el micro, ¿eh? Porque la chica ya la he escuchado otras veces y tal, y el micro que tiene definitivamente tiene que tirarlo a la basura, junto con el trapo.
To have to kind of like see that played out through the environment.
I think it would be interesting to see Tavaran language signs vandalized by other Tavaran.
Well,
Like-
And oh, go on.
Oh, no, just like, no, we threw this away for a reason. Stop it.
Folks are aware of our budding studio up in Montreal with our partners at Turbulent. One of the teams that is currently being built out there right now is a branding team, specifically designed to help unify and explore and exploit all the opportunities for in-game branding. That includes things like graffiti and stuff like that. So I was just talking to them the other day, and they've got their work cut out for them. But when they get up and running and stuff, there's gonna be a lot more immersive decor to the environments that you see. A lot more brand.
Está comentando, discolando con el tema de la cartelería, de las marcas y todo eso, que tiene un equipo de branding, o sea, de que se dedica a creación de marcas en Montreal, un estudio dedicado a eso, un grupo de gente que está dedicada a eso, en el estudio de Montreal, perdón. Y que cuando tengamos más cosas, cuando vaya avanzando más, que nos mostrarán chicha y harán la experiencia definitivamente más inmersiva.
Expert.
Who is our true expert?
So there is, like, for you Eagle Eye players out there is Banu and Shion text already in the game that you can find around our different locations. Do you want to give an example, Sherry, that comes to mind?
I don't remember.
For the Luminalia holiday stuff, we often
Oh,
have
right.
Banu text on that.
Yes.
Like, I think the last year's holiday themed items for
Mhm.
Luminalia.
Yeah, there was a Luminalia greeting on that cool sweater. It was a fan design sweater last year, wasn't it? It was
Right.
really
It was,
great.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
loved that. And we loved how the fan made sure to include, accurate Banu text on it. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. And then Savarin, just to clarify, we're still in the process of developing that with
Mhm.
Britain. It was a lower priority language because it's not as in active use as Banu and Shion were going to be in the game. Though it's
Están comentando ahí un detalle de los Tebarin o sea, los Tebarin siguen estando en la mira, pero pero lo que es el idioma tiene una prioridad baja porque no es un idioma, o sea, es una lengua que no está en uso activo como la Banu o la Xian.
Purge, and then he develops a modern version of the language that's mixed with UE standard to create kind of like a newish language, like what happened with English when the French invaded.
Right. It's predictably extra
Why-
for.
Yeah,
working
it's
on
very
Star
extra.
Citizen-
We
working on
love-
Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Britain takes it next level. I've seen some of the docs. He will send Sherry a doc 100 pages long with questions about a certain species to be like, give me an idea about this, and he's all in and he's very into the details. It's
Mhm.
incredible. It's
That's why he's our perfect match.
Yep.
Well,
absolutely.
well, next time I talk to him, I'm gonna
French
see- I'm gonna
English thing. I learned that's why we call beef
Really?
instead of cow meat. Is because
But Britton Watkins, if you're watching, how much of the original Canterbury Tales do you have memorized in Middle English?
Good question.
Wanda Tapri with the show at Sota.
I think you might have him beaten that.
Ya se ha vuelto loco discolando y está hablando en inglés antiguo, tío. No voy a traducir esto. Porque están hablando del impacto de cómo serían los idiomas, del impacto de conquista y demás, de palabras que hayan apropiado para el idioma, como pasa con el inglés y el francés.
it's something we've been in discussion with for kind of the new loot generation system and our ability to kind of include those items with set dressing and have a wide variety of them. It's something that we hope to have coming in greater frequency soon. And we want to improve the interactions with the data pads, like the recent Siege event. We had those fun data pads that you could find on the lieutenants, which hopefully some of you got to read because I enjoyed those. But yeah.
Vale. En vez de Horizon o Horizon es Horizon Siege. Horizon Siege, te cagas. Entonces, nada, dice que quieren mejorar la experiencia del Horizon Siege metiendo pass de datos para poder mejorar la experiencia, historietas por ahí y tal.
Changes and improvements. But yes, we want more, and we also want to go through our backlog and start introducing all the old dispatches into the game as well at some point, so that all the stuff you've been able to read on the site, you'd actually be able to find sprinkled throughout the universe as well.
Cool. The Adventures of Kid Crimson. Here we come. I remember. When are you gonna bring Kid Crimson back?
I think that might be a secret. There's some, yeah. Well, not a complete secret, but yeah, no, he is beloved and not forgotten, let's say.
That was my question. That wasn't it.
Mhm.
Get ready for the adventures of Man Crimson. He's all grown up.
So we talk about people trying to sitcom some questions in about Saddleball. How popular is Saddleball around the verse? Can it be likened to football throughout the world or EU? Who wants to talk about Saddleball?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Saddleball. Yeah, I think Saddleball is very popular. We've, you know, I mean, I think it was an early kind of like lore builders where we went through and, you know, broke down a bunch of different divisions and teams and spread them out all across the UEE. So it's empire wide. We've talked about there being, you know, kind of big stadiums all over the place. So it's big enough to support, you know, tens of thousands of spectators every day.
Vale, están hablando del Satabol. El Satabol es algo que, bueno, a ver si lo podemos encontrar.
Yeah, I think it's very popular, and I know there's even like
Alguna imagen,
posters
porque mira,
that
esta
might
mierda de
be
aquí.
sprinkled in, you know, some of the set dressing all over the place. So
Esto es un juego que supuestamente están preguntando si es tan popular como el fútbol hoy en día o es extendido a lo largo del verso y tal. Y bueno, pues en realidad es parecido a lo que vimos en el juego de Ender. No sé si visteis esa peli, pero es del rollo. Y se supone que es un... Pues que dice que el tipo que está preparado para... eh, eh, del orden de 10.000 espectadores cada partido y todo eso y tal. Y como que está pensado... O sea, como que es algo que se ha expandido en el imperio de la UE y que es algo bastante famoso, muy popular, ¿no? Este deporte. Y la verdad que hay ganas de que salga.
No comment.
You have to investigate for yourself and draw your own conclusions.
I tried Pagan Linux Geek. I tried. Does the pyro crab have a name, Steve?
Yes. Yes. It's called the whip crab. I don't know what else I can say about that, but yeah, whip crab.
It's called the whip crab?
Yeah.
Is it
It's
WHIP?
LOL. Dice como... Dice como el cangrejo de Pyro tiene algún nombre y se llama el whip crab. Es el cangrejo látigo. O sea, porque parece que mete látigos y tal y todo eso supongo los tentáculos.
weapon that Indiana Jones favors.
Can't find the concept art really quickly, but has kind of these long tendrils coming off of it, which is why the people in Pyro who saw it were like, "Oh, that thing's
got whips."
As a follow-up, what the hell is a ranta? They leave a lot of poop in caves that don't have atmosphere.
It's just a little guy. It's like a little isopod looking guy that scuttles around the caves and leaves funny shaped poop.
And doesn't need to
Cool
breathe.
guy.
So yeah, it can survive in a lot of different atmospheres. Yeah, so it's kind of a large isopod moving around and kind of sucking up different minerals and stuff, which is why its dung is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of different shaped dung was inspired by, if I'm remembering correctly, wombats, where a real life thing have fun shaped poop.
Have we ever showed what it looks like?
I don't think we have concept art for it yet.
Do we?
And if we did, I'm not sure it's approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop it to me in chat. I'll know whether it's it when I see it.
I think
Okay.
the only thing stuff on the page is
Yeah,
random
if you find it-
inspiration art I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there was an image in the monthly report.
That is a different. That is a stone bug, if it's what I'm thinking of, which is.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the stone bug in the monthly report. Yeah.
Vale, están diciendo Están hablando del reporte mensual, que hay una imagen de una criatura que, porque dice que bueno, las cuevas, si ves a ellas, hay una cosa que se llama caca de ranta, caquitas de ranta y tal, y que eso pues es un bichejo que vive en las cuevas y que se alimenta de minerales y tal. Y estaba comentando y colando si el bicho que era el del Monty Report, y no, el Monty Report es un bicho de piedras, o sea, un bicho de las piedras. O sea, que es Stone Bug se llama, algo así. Que es otro rollo diferente. Y que lo iban a enseñar, pero parece que no, que al final no.
Paint, and then we'll screen share at the end.
Okay. So we all know how wonderful my MS Paint drawings are.
Let's see. Let's go back to some alien stuff. Let's see. Do any humans, Banu, Xi'an, or Tavaran, just take your pick, still practice a religion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, Jinx.
There we go. End of answer.
End of answer. We are done. We've put a lot of thought into developing the spirituality of the different alien civilizations. I mean, it's my thought that it's difficult to have a civilization without some kind of concept of spirituality or some kind of interest in like exploring mysteries, which I think is part of what religion is all about, just like exploring and understanding things that you don't understand. But the Xi'an have a really complex code of ethics slash spiritual-ish religion called Litova that's dedicated to the understanding of time, which ties into the understanding of actions across time. Because they live so long, they have first.
Le están preguntando si hay religiones y si siguen practicando religiones en el juego. Dice que sí, que definitivamente. Y nos está escribiendo cómo es la religión de los Xian, que es algo bastante complicado, bastante complejo, que se llama Doba. Que o sea, la religión se basa en la observación del tiempo y demás.
I mean, it's still there. You can't live on it. It's not safe. So one cornerstone of Litova is actions across time, and the other is the exploration of time as a concept. They also, I think we do this in humans too, like the ability to meditate to the point where it feels like time is slowing down, but for them.
Claro, está comentando de que hay, o sea, la toga esta tiene como dos movidas, que sería una las acciones realizadas a lo largo del tiempo y otra el estudio del tiempo en sí mismo. Y que tienen como una especie de también de meditación, parecido a lo que hacemos los humanos, que parece que el tiempo se ralentiza, pero parece que en el caso de los Xian, que es algo más sólido, más potente esta meditación.
Into this meditative state.
Yeah, no, it's I think Sherry, you're the expert on the Kali Kola or something like exactly the pronunciation for it. But yeah, the idea being that it was an endurance, kind of like extreme Le Mans type race where they're traveling great distances for long periods of time, and the best racers are able to enter the state Sherry was just talking about as a way to slow down their body functions either and be able to travel, longer without taking breaks and stuff like that. So I know it should be up on the RSI site. There's a portfolio specifically on that race that talks about it and kind of the origins of it, which again ties into all that. So among the Xi'an, being a racer who can do this, can find that state makes you revered within the culture, and so it ties in with that also.
It'd be the Kwaekoya.
There we go.
I'm not going to even try to say that.
That's why I defer to her so many times.
No, está diciendo que hay una especie de... O sea, hay un grupo de los Xian que se llama The Quiet Koya. The Quiet Koya. Se llaman así, ¿no? Y parece que son gente que que viaja, o sea, que viaja bastante tiempo, o sea, hace viajes largos por el espacio, que utiliza la meditación eh, para reducir para reducir su, ¿cómo se llama? Joder, sus funciones vitales no, pero para ralentizar el funcionamiento del cuerpo, ¿no? Y de esa manera pues poder extender esos viajes y no tener que interrumpirlos. Entonces esa gente como que forman parte de esta clase de cultura también, de alguna manera que está relacionado con el rollo de esta religión del tiempo y todo eso.
We do get 1 year off, 1 week off for the holidays.
Yeah, we do. We gave ourselves that.
That's it's not that you get the year off. You've chosen to take the year off. You can take more weeks off. You guys have just chosen not to because, like Britain, we are all just a little bit extra. So this question says, in a recent lore post, there's an implication that violent resistance towards Hurston's corporate government is generally frowned upon. Isn't violent resistance towards always? No. Was that an opinion by a particular narrator, or are open acts of rebellion against Hurstonamics more or less unheard of and unpopular? Is there not a workers' party base launching raids on Kleischer to free political prisoners?
For our dispatches, we always try to write them in the voice and the opinion of the show that it's presenting. So in that case, it was a plain truth, and Parker Terrell, the host of that, was sharing his opinions. And so Parker Terrell's a really fun character in that way because it lets us explore more kind of fringe news stories that may be more conspiracy based or less like grounded. Like he's okay on reporting stuff that doesn't have 100% of the facts in. And so that's not saying whether it was 100% true or not. That's open for interpretation, what you find in game, but Parker kind of presents these stories. And so that's true of all our dispatches, is that they're always meant to be, this is what that show is saying, rather than this is 100% canon truth.
Right. No, that's actually it's one of the things to always remember. Actually, when you see it, that goes from material on like a ship post down to the lore post, down to the stuff you read in the game.
Están comentando del Workers' Party, bueno, en general están hablando del tema de Hearthstone y tal, supongo. Que es el tema, hace nada sacaron un mensaje de una entrevista de un tío que se llama Parker y tal, que estaba hablando sobre el tema de la situación de que la gente se rebelase contra los abusos y tal y todo eso de los trabajadores. Pero como que están debatiendo el tema de que las anécdotas que se cuentan, como que no es algo que sea para que sea algo 100% creíble, sino que trata de ser un texto para que esté abierta la interpretación basado en lo que nosotros encontremos en el juego, ¿no? Que como que quieren hacer algunos textos de narrativa, quieren presentarlos de manera que no tiene por qué ser 100% verdad, o no tiene por qué tener un argumento sólido, sino dejar margen también a la investigación por parte del jugador dentro del juego.
Isn't and shouldn't be an easy task because they're a megacorp that makes things meant to kill people. So yeah, not just I'm sure there are people around the verse that hate them and want to go in there and change their ways, but wanting to do that and being able to do that are going to be two completely different things.
And I think the general UEE has kind of complicated feelings about this. Like there's some people who would really support the UWH and what they're trying to achieve. There's other people like, well, I support what they stand for, but violence is never the answer. There's other people who are just like, these guys are thugs. So we want that breadth of opinions to exist in the universe.
Claro, están diciendo de que además a la hora de poner este tipo de artículos que tienen un punto de vista bastante subjetivo, por así decirlo, que son como artículos de opinión más que verdades del lore absolutas, dejan, o sea, pues se respira el ambiente de polémica, de debate, en lo que es en la narrativa del verso en general, de que gente que está a favor, gente que está en contra, dependiendo de los métodos que se usen para ese tipo de revueltas de trabajadores, si se lleva la violencia, otros piensan que la violencia no es la respuesta.
It features such amazing add-ons as
Punches above its weight class.
Punches above its weight class is sick. I try to just like list things and stay away from too much modifying language. So that's like, but I mean, I'm sure that every so often the person who's writing, the in-lore person who is responsible, the in-lore people, I should say, because it's not a single person who's writing it, might let their opinion slip in here and there. It's very difficult to write a true neutral article, but we do the best we can to keep it as neutral as possible.
Do you want to explain who the people writing it are, in case some of the folks out there don't know?
Oh, sure. The people in Universe who are writing it all work for the ARC, which is this enormous library, archive, museum that was made by humans after, made in partnership with Banu too, right?
I mean, they were all the races were invited.
That's right,
to
everybody.
contribute.
But it was made by humans after the Messer era, basically as like a, hey, so like we're cool with everybody now. Let's make this space that celebrates everybody and not just humans. So it has material contributed by Banu, Xi'an, Teverin, maybe Vandal, who knows? Probably not. We would probably, if there's Vandal materials in the ARC, they didn't give it to the ARC.
It was just like a box with a bunch of hands inside of it.
Está hablando del tema del ARC, que es como una especie de biblioteca de Alejandría de la época en la que están conocimientos de muchas cosas, pero bueno, que de alguna manera después de la época Messer y tal, que los humanos trataran de proponer que fuera un espacio celebrado por todas las razas y se metiera cultura en común, ¿no? O conocimientos en común con, pues, de tanto Banu como Xi'an y que dice que probablemente sea algo Bandul que seguramente no tenga nada, o sea, que no lo hayan dado a propósito los Bandul.
And they knew exactly how many words were in it. Like they didn't even have to look it up. They knew how many words were in that database. I was like, oh, okay, you're thinking about this stuff already.
Yeah.
We're actually going to get to meet the localization team on ISC in a couple weeks, which is why I was having that conversation.
And you'll ask them why they're not translating stuff into Middle English.
Yeah. That's what they should be doing. That's what the people want.
Die schönste Jungfrau sitzt tot oben Nord. That's German. Can we get more pictures or video with the Galactopedia entries?
Again, that's something that we would like to do down the line, and that we need to find a way to get that prioritized. Right now, we're more concerned about making the best.
El tema está que le dice la Galactopedia, que bueno, que ya sabes que la Galactopedia pues es un lugar donde podemos buscar conocimientos del juego relacionados con el lore, bastante actualizado, que es algo que están poniendo poco a poco, aunque de momento, desde mi punto de vista, es una iniciativa pequeña. Están preguntándole si podemos tener más fotos, vídeos y tal, pero dice la chica que bueno, que tienen que buscar la manera de poder priorizar más esas tareas porque ahora mismo están centrados en hacer el Star Citizen.
Accessible. I have like a whole document of things I want to do with the Galactopedia, but our priority is to make Star Citizen.
Yeah, Sherry has been spearheading, making amazing progress and all those kind of new posts and stuff that are getting in, expanding it all the time. So it's really just comes down to high level priorities and putting in requests from other people's times and blocking out that time. So the base functionality is there, and so that's where we're starting. And then fingers crossed, we'll keep making it better and better.
I almost convinced Sherry to write a Raftron article for the Galactopedia once. Last Galactopedia question here from Mad Titan in the chat. Will player discoveries ever add to or change the Galactopedia?
Oh, for sure. We've added some.
Los descubrimientos de los jugadores o acciones de los jugadores podrán modificar la Galactopedia y dice, oh, for sure, por supuesto.
For a while, when Sketo Rock was a thing, was a procedurally generated landscape discovered by one of the fans, Sketo, in fact. People used to go and take photographs on it with their ship because it was just like the perfect vantage point. So we included that in the Galactopedia because it was really getting popular and seemed to be important. It was sadly erased in an update, the procedural landscape generator, but we do have it, we still have it in the Galactopedia as a memorial to something that used to be important fan content. So yes, it's not just current plans, but future plans. We keep our eyes peeled for things that seem to be important to people, and we try to include it whenever we can.
Let's jump back into some alien stuff. We got a lot of stuff on the aliens. Where were all these alien questions during the Alien Week show? Will we be seeing more Xi'an houses becoming ship manufacturers, or are Gatak?
Bueno,
and Apoa the
estoy
only
viendo ahí
ones?
comentarios acerca de melones y tal,
As needed, we'll make more.
para que os relajéis
Generally,
un poco.
The thing about the Xi'an is that they have imperial granted monopolies on certain type of things. Like House Gatak has a monopoly to make fighters for the military, possibly even more ships for the military. So it depends on if we want to break up what Gatak has a monopoly on, or what Alpa has a monopoly on. You know,
We have a lot of room within the fiction itself to kind of expand as the ship team's needs arise.
Mhm.
You know, so far, you know, the ships that have been coming in have fit in with the design style of Apo and Gatek, so that's what we've been leaning on.
Oh yeah, and also I got it backwards. It's Alpoa who has the contract with the military for fighters, and it's Gatak who does cargo ships.
I wasn't confident enough to question.
Yeah,
I was like, I wasn't confident enough to question. The Con Show in the chat says, can anything about the new star system be shared at this moment? Assuming you're referring to the Pyro system, absolutely check out last year's CitizenCon live stream was almost entirely dedicated to Pyro. And then as we announced just a few short hours ago, or maybe just an hour ago or whatever, the schedule for this year's CitizenCon event has some more Pyro-related content. Not as much as last year, because we didn't want to repeat ourselves. But it'll still have some new Pyro stuff there, so you can.
One of the Pyro things I'm really excited about is that we're getting a couple new food items that are more kind of unique to Star Citizen itself. And one of the pictures that we included in the monthly, I guess the real lesson today is go check out that monthly report, but of these nutrient cubes that are like these densely packed,
just
kind of have a very
gelatinous cube with like mustard on it.
Yeah, they got that kind of almost crunchy jelly kind of texture when you bite into them, and they serve them with sauces to make it more interesting. It's one of the cheapest foods you can get and still get a good meal. It's great.
Yeah, we'll have a feature on all of the new foods and interactables and stuff of the Pyro system in February. In case you're it's in February. In case you're curious about how far ISCs and everything are planned out generally.
February of next year.
February of next year.
It's quite confidential.
Heck, while we're talking Pyro, looking at Pyro and potential piracy, are there plans of having both Ninetales and Xenothreat factions present, or just one?
The main one there is going to be Xenothreat. They're based out of Pyro. They're the current runners of Ruin Station, the main space station that the Hellas like to fight over and operate out of. Ninetales currently is Stanton-based. That's their main headquarters. They're operating out of Grimhex. So that's kind of the distinction. There might eventually be some crossover, but like at the start.
Está comentando el tema de la comida y tal, y descubriendo los cubos de gelatina que vimos y tal, que son como una especie de... Que dice que en Pyro pues vamos a tener objetos más únicos de lo que es la franquicia de lo que va a ser Star Citizen, y que le va a dar la oportunidad de desarrollar lore pues, con respecto a eso. Y también nos comentó del tema de que ya está publicado lo que es la programación de la CitizenCon, que por cierto ya está la cuenta atrás, que faltan 28 días, que será el día 8 de octubre a las 5 de la tarde, hora española. Y están hablando ahora de si los Ninetales y los Xenothreat se van a encontrar en Pyro o cómo va el tema. Y dice que bueno, que los Xeno tienen el control de Ruin Station y su cuartel general allí, los Ninetales tienen el cuartel general en Stanton, y está la posibilidad de explorar algún cruce entre ellos, pero bueno, como lo comenta como algo de momento algo que no está planeado así en plan de vamos a hacer esto tal, o sea, en plan de que bueno, que es una posibilidad.
in their lore used to operate in a bunch of different systems, and they have recently consolidated and just been based in Grimhex and doing their operations out of there. Why they're doing that, no one's quite sure. But yeah, so that's where they're centered from. And Pyro is Xenothreat main territory right now, and then all these other gangs that we've been kind of starting to think about and flesh out. So yeah, it'll be diversity of gangs to meet while there.
And where was it? Some Bobby Wan in chat says, I think the Overlords are a pyro gang, and well, the Overlords are vigilantes. It's.
But yeah, Overlords too. Yeah, they're part of the mix of whatever is happening there. No one's quite sure exactly what their intentions are, but yeah.
The Overlords are special to me because I got to contribute like this much to it. Like this thing.
And then we got Citizens for Pyro in the mix, which is a fun development that was written about in a recent, very nice Observist. So read about them there. Help the cause.
Sherry, I should tell you that when you do the text in the Zoom, it shows up on the stream.
Oh.
So.
Están hablando de que está diciendo a la chica de que claro, de que cuando comparte cosas Discolando aparece en el chat en pop-up y que tiquitaca, que no haga.
Sherry.
It's super inappropriate. You're gonna be disgusted.
Send messages through Teams from now on. Oh,
there you go.
Lord. Okay, here we go.
There you go. That's canon, folks.
And where does the dung come from?
Ese es el puto ranta.
Wow.
Right here. There you
Perfect,
go.
thank you.
That's poop.
Poop comes from the butt.
It comes from the butt. Hold on, let me just there we go.
Everybody.
Everyone poops, especially the Ranta.
Sherry, I'm sorry you're leaving the narrative team to go join the concept art team, but there's no stopping you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural fit. As you can see, I'm an art genius. I've just been wasting my time here, so see ya, suckers.
Right, you can stop the screen share.
Okay.
Speaking of things like the Ranta, will we ever see space rats or space vermin at landing zones? Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We have them planned. It's just getting them through the development cycle, and then there's also a fun write-up if we get them for space barnacles. Like we want these little critters that stick on your hull and will slowly kind of wear it away, and so you might have to go EVA out with your little multi-tool and get those suckers off before they become a problem. Was one idea. Not promise it'll happen, but I was excited about it. So maybe.
Vale, entiendo. Va a haber bichería en el verso, tipo ratas y todo eso y tal. Y dice, sí, vamos a meter mandanga y que va a haber incluso bichos que tengas que sacar del casco que te vienen a joder la nave, como lapas y tal. Tendrás que salir y sacarlas con la multitool.
4.0 is the pyro system, but this question's about Nyx, which we had as a sort of homeless person sleeping on Stan's couch for a while there. We all know about Levski, but are there other surface settlements in the Nyx system, either on Delamar or the other planets of Nyx?
Yeah, there should be. In our recent lore makers, we do every quarter, so for a year we go through our Ask a Dev and we answer a bunch of questions. And one of the ones from the recent one was about Nyx and about basically settlements outside of Delamar and Levski. And obviously there's going to be other places that we're going to want you to go in system. And one of the groups we talked about there was a group called the Moraine, which will have kind of homesteads and little outposts, maybe in different parts of the.
No puedo resistirme. Dice que está hablando de Nyx y de que están pensando otras localizaciones, incluso en Delamar o esa parte de Levski u otras o parte del sistema, por el sistema que se llamarán los Merengue, pero no puedo pensar en decir merengue y en eso pues me llevo a pensar ferengue. Quiero ferengues en el juego, chavales. Los ferengues molan, joder.
Thing, and what we learned from developing Stanton is about what is the level of content that is appropriate. So finding out we need these locations for players to visit and do things at. And so even though in the lore write-ups right now, we've only called out 1 or 2 locations, that was basically just that that first light coating, the undercoat of narrative. And as the great eye of development turns toward the system, we start painting more and more layers on it, really diving in with all the design and environment art teams to hone in on exactly all the structures and settlements and stuff for the players to interact and do with. So just like we've been doing with Pyro for the past however many months it's been, we're going to turn and eventually do that again next, and we'll know more about, there's these, space stations that are around the system because we need places for players to be able to refuel or get more oxygen out and stuff like that. So all that will be coming as development goes.
Wildly Coyote is suggesting that to join Pico and Finley, there should be a whip crab with a red stepped pyramid structure on its head, and it can be Devo the whip crab.
Yes, please.
All for as many Devo references, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. I'm joining the concept team. I'll definitely make that happen.
You'll be our plant in there, yeah.
We've talked a bit about aliens today. Architect TV says in live chat says, what is currently holding back any unveiling of other species in the games? Let's make the ones we got first. Just, maybe they've got another answer, but I think let's make the ones we've already revealed first before we just go adding more.
Yep.
No, that's definitely the answer.
I know we had also gotten in the submission questions one about are we going to get more all our alien races are a little humanoid and that you stand upright, that you have arms and legs and a face, and are we going to get weirder aliens? And the answer is kind of that same thing. Is what we're going to focus on the ones that we have talked about that we're developing, and for now, I think the people who are looking to scratch their weird alien itch, it's going to be less about the alien races that fly spaceships and stuff, and our kind of unique fauna is where a lot of that's going to be happening as far as weird creature interactions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you're looking to scratch that weird alien itch, just go to Twitter and send a DM to @jlee_art. He's really into that. Just send them all the weirdest, just anything, but especially aliens. Just he really appreciates it. He loves to engage in really long, protracted conversations. If he doesn't respond within 4 or 5 minutes every time, just keep hitting him. Again, he really appreciates it when you stay on him for that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry, Jeremiah.
Están comentando así un poco por encima que estaba escribiendo y tal, no me di cuenta, pero vamos, que están hablando de la rareza de las conversaciones.
So we can replicate.
Están hablando de las rarezas de la conversación que podemos tener con un alien y dale, que están trabajando en eso. Y que puteemos a uno de los del estudio, que le empecemos a mandar mierdas a Twitter, lo típico que hacéis colando para que haga cosas así.
Does that mean that meats and other things can be synthesized in the same way? Like a horrific Star Trek replicator with one too many steps?
Cellular meat reproduction, I think, has actually been happening before the current regen tech. The idea of being able to kind of grow meat in a lab is a lot of what the inner systems use for their protein sources would be synthetic meats, where growing actual livestock would be more prohibitive, and actual cow would be a little bit more of a luxury, versus on the frontier where it's a little bit the opposite, where they don't have the manufacturing plants, so maybe they're actually putting effort into raising livestock for food.
Está comentando que la carne de un animal vivo, que es como un artículo de lujo, y comentando un poco sobre la generación artificial de carne en un laboratorio, y dice que es algo que se usa relacionado con lo que es la tecnología de replicación, y dice que sí, que esto va mucho antes de la tecnología de replicación, bueno, ya sabéis lo de si te mueres y tal. Pero vamos, que quizás la gente de las zonas fronterizas que se plantee más el tener granjas o crecer animales debido a la dificultad del acceso a instalaciones que puedan producir ese tipo de carne.
The old Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy series we used to do for folks who've joined in the last couple of years. We used to do a bi-weekly series where we sit down with one of the members of the lore team, and they'd explore the lore and science and history of one of the many potential star systems for Star Citizen. This question on that is simply, what planetary system now or in the future are you most excited to dive into?
Goss.
Oh, my answer is also Goss. Oh no.
Snipes.
Go, you two, go.
Goss fight.
World.
Yeah, trade things that you like about it.
I like that it has a really beautiful sky. I like that it has a binary star, so 2 suns. I think that it's the place I would most like to live if I lived in the Star Citizen universe, because of
Waterfalls.
the climate and the prettiness, and yes, the waterfalls.
Yeah, and that whole landing zone on at the base of it, like a Niagara Falls style waterfall. I know what you're saying. Folks who have been following the project for a while might remember when every single event post that we ever made on the website, come to Gamescom, come to CitizenCon, come to PAX South, all had the same picture of Goss, because it was the only picture we had that kind of looked like a fun place you'd want to go.
Están hablando de cuál es el sistema que les gustaría, con el que les gustaría meterse, y es con el sistema GOS, que es este de aquí. Tenéis aquí imágenes y tal. Que bueno, pues está bastante guay. Y por las cascadas que tiene, por todo y tal. No sé si hay alguna imagen aquí de calidad. En algún sitio de por aquí, perdida. Pero vamos, que el sistema es este de aquí. No sé si se verá bien. Esta ciudad que es bastante conocida, más o menos, ¿vale?
Place, and how do we balance that with shooting people and like the kind of those fun challenges. So yeah, it's a little boring. We did the same one, Sherry. Sorry.
How about you?
On my side, I'll go for something that's a little more kind of story reasons, but I can't wait for the Nexus system, which I think is really, really cool, because it has 4 jumps that kind of connect a bunch of kind of uninhabited, or not kind of outlaw systems and the UE has basically gone in to try to reclaim the system from the outlaws that have basically been controlling it for a long time, and they've been semi-successful. Like, they have one planet on lockdown where they have a bunch of their own like military bases, and another one is still a free-for-all where the UE is starting to construct fortified cities, or has fortified cities that people live in, but the second you leave though and you go into the countryside, it's a free-for-all. There, I spent a little time thinking about it. There was a serialized fiction story I wrote called Sid and Cyrus that took place in Nexus. So I think it's a really interesting and cool system, just because it's a UEE system that's going to have this high outlaw presence that is just going to be crazy. So I like the balance of that, and I like the idea of there being a planet where it's the UE has these certain sectors, but there's other sectors where it's a free-for-all, and go there at your own risk. So and again, just because it's connected to so many other interesting kind of like systems that use it as the name came from, a nexus to get from here to there. So
mine has always been, I mean, for the longest time it was Crusader, with the whole Lando and the Cloud City thing. But
están hablando un poco del sistema Nexus, que es interesante, si no he escuchado mal, que dicen sobre el tema del planteamiento de ese sistema, que sí, que la UE tiene control, pero no tiene control del todo. Porque como que tiene ciudades fortificadas por lo que es la zona, pero en el momento que te sales de la ciudad fortificada, que es a la aventura, y que de hecho pues tiene bastante actividad pirata, bastante actividad criminal.
Synth World.
Cathcart.
No,
Oh.
but Spider/Cathcart is the one, and then the other one is Synth World.
Synth World is fun.
Just the challenge of making Synth World is I'm very much looking forward to when
Dices Colando que una de las cosas que busca también es Synth World, por el reto que supone, ¿no? Que es el planeta artificial Bueno, la historia rápida es un planeta que el imperio de la UE se volcó a hacer y creó muchísimos problemas por la falta de dinero que le requería, y además eso hay que sumar el dinero que está por la guerra, y por eso pues los planetas de Stanton y tal se vendieron a las diferentes corporaciones y demás para poder retener el dinero suficiente como para seguir con esa locura.
Los Angeles.
Y dice Discolando que por el reto que supone lo que es ese tipo de construcción, que tiene muchas ganas de verlo en el juego.
92322. We're talking about jump points. Adam, you brought up the Nexus. If jump points connect various systems in a large web, how is it possible for anyone to invade anyone? What stops the UEE from creating an impenetrable choke point at the jump point exit of a valuable system?
So we talked about this at a CitizenCon, forget exactly the year, but internally we kind of call it the Swiss cheese method. But the idea is that there's these main very stable jump points are usually initially what's found to connect systems, and those are what get the infrastructure. But its space is not only inner space is not only connected at that one point, it's soft all over that area over long distance. And so there are other more unstable jump connections that can be found. So of different sizes and various qualities. So that it's kind of something that players will be able to do, and it's something that potentially NPCs will be able to do is find new paths between systems that are not at that main stable jump point, that highway, like there's back roads basically. And then the other thing is that the exit point we've talked about a little bit is, I'm not sure, I'm going to stop there.
Fair enough.
But that gives us kind of the leeway to explain how there isn't just large cannons aimed at a point and the band will show up and get blown up instantly.
Yeah. It's not like those portals in Pacific Rim. That I watched that movie, and Gypsy Danger has a giant sword that can just cut through everything, and I'm like, why don't you just put like a sword cross above the permanently over the pit that all these monsters are coming out, and every time they come out, they just kill themselves on the sword. Why are you building giant robots? Just build two of those swords in a crisscross and let them.
Jared.
Just
It's because giant robots own.
I know giant robots own, and I wish I liked that movie more than I did.
I love that movie.
No, believe me, the fault is in myself.
Okay.
I am disappointed in myself that I did.
Está comentando una cosa interesante sobre que no he podido escuchar, o luego lo miramos, sobre por qué no hay un bloqueo permanente por la UE en lo que son los puntos de salto. De puntos a otros sistemas. También ha comentado algo bastante interesante, que es el hecho que pues confirmado, ¿no? Que vamos a tener puntos de salto más inestables que lo que es el principal, de diferentes tamaños, hacia los diferentes sistemas que haya en el verso, y o sea, que conecte los diferentes sistemas que hay en el verso, y que esos pues se pueden encontrar tanto por jugadores como por NPCs en el futuro.
Well, they probably mean like some planets not being just charred husks and stuff like that.
Yeah, a little bit of a retcon, but more of a development. And I guess that's the real thing about this game being in active development, is that just like ships get improvements, just like planets get improvement and change, the lore is a little bit flexible to keep up with it. We think long and hard before we change stuff, but we do have to keep changing and adjusting to maintain a cohesive universe. And it was, with Pyro, we had it a lot more inhabitable from the early days of when we were first developing systems. That was also before we knew exactly where Planet Tech was going to be. This dates back to the way beginning of the project. So at that time, we wanted more planets that you couldn't go visit. And now it's kind of changed, where we want more places for you to visit on these worlds. And so we've adjusted stuff with design.
Está comentando una cosa interesante acerca de la población que tiene Pyro, que en un principio se podía decir que Pyro era una zona despoblada, y comenta que el lore a veces tiene que cambiar y adaptarse al juego a medida que lo que es el juego se desarrolla y evoluciona. Pues cuando se pensó en Pyro como una zona despoblada, no existía la posibilidad, la tecnología planetaria que tenemos hoy en día de poder visitar los planetas de la forma que lo hacemos. Y está comentando de que eso pues tendrá que ajustarse porque quieren que visitemos lugares. La idea es poder visitar esos planetas, poder disfrutarlos en el juego. Así que por lo tanto va a haber cambios a ese respecto.
I do. And it's one of the reasons, I always say it's game development, it's not game construction. You don't just plan the game out at the very beginning and then only just make the thing that you planned out at the very beginning. There's no more thought. There's no more creativity. There's no more better ideas. It's like it's it's one of the reasons with the things like Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy and stuff. It's like it's you guys came up with an amazing launching point for all of these systems, but as it comes time to build them, there are entire teams of environmental artists and gameplay designers and stuff who all want to contribute and all want to add their agency to the creation of these systems. And so it's just natural that planets, moons, star systems, space stations, everything in the game changes and evolves as the people here change and evolve.
Está hablando de que bueno, que es normal que las historias o el juego o todo evolucione en el juego a medida que la empresa también lo hace y el juego se va desarrollando.
Instant game development is change.
And really, hopefully, we're keeping the spirit of that original vibe of the Pyro. And so, like, will anything else be retconned or changed? Like, yes, that is to be expected. But again, we don't do it lightly. So we want to respect the effort and commitment that a lot of you have put into the narrative that we create and together. So, and actually, a lot of the little changes that we make are thanks to you guys pointing out glaring mistakes that we made over the years and being like, actually, oh, that's a really good point. We have to fix that. So go in and have long.
Dice que muchas veces le pasa que algún backer les hable y le dice, oye, esto aquí no cuadra y tal, y que dice, efectivamente, pues tenemos que arreglarlo, ¿no? Pues porque a veces se les puede pasar algo del lore que no esté bien. Hay que acordarse que estamos en el desarrollo y bueno, se trata de evolucionar la historia del juego para que concuerde, que sea creíble. Así que es algo que va evolucionando con el juego, ¿no?
All right, so that's it. That's our show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody, this week. Thank you to Will and Adam and Sherry for taking the time. I usually say it's out of the end of their week, but they're a little earlier now. It's so weird. I think this might be one of the first times I've done an LA interview since I've been over here. I mean, it's playing with my internal clock.
Well, and your accent now.
Oh yeah, my accent.
Yeah.
Do I sound very different?
Extremely. You sound mega British.
Strange women lying in homes, distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Remember to check out citizencon.com. If you haven't already. We just announced the save the date for this year's CitizenCon event. It is October 8th. There's an array of presentations being given. Remember, as Chris Roberts said in his letter from the chairman in May, there is no large keynote this year. We're all hands on deck trying to get persistent entity streaming out the door, into server meshing, into Pyro, and all that stuff like that. So it's just more important that we focus that there than do a big show. Yes, it's our 10th birthday, but you do what you got to do, and the focus should be on making the game right now. So that's what we're doing. But we still got a good show. Won't be as long as last year, but there's some really cool stuff, and you check it out if you think about it. There's some really cool stuff in there, so check that out. And for people wanting to know even more about PES, come back here next week. We've got members of our core technology team on the show, and they're going to be answering as many questions as possible about the upcoming persistent entity streaming, what it is, what it isn't, managing some expectations, and giving you all the real scoop about what it is and what it does for Star Citizen, which is a lot. It makes the future possible. So check that out. That's next week at 8 a.m. Pacific. So yeah, we're gonna raid. Oh look, we're raiding somebody. We're raiding the Queen of Kleischer. So so when you go there, if she's not in Kleischer, she's hacking or something. She's always in Kleischer. So see you later, everybody. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The pings.
Vale, vamos a mirar aquí una cosita. Quiero volver.
Cuba stink.
Vale, quiero volver. Está Citizen. Vídeos. En esta parte de aquí. Que serían
We
el...
had it a lot more inhabitable from
Jared doesn't
find new paths between systems, jump connections that can be systems, and those
choke point at the jump point exit of a valuable system.
So we talked about this at a CitizenCon, forget exactly the year, but internally we kind of call it the Swiss cheese method. But the idea is that there's these main very stable jump points are usually initially what's found to connect systems, and those are what get the infrastructure. But its space is not only inner space is not only connected at that one point, it's soft all over that area over long distance. And so there are other more unstable jump connections that can be found. So of different sizes and various qualities. So that it's kind of something that players will be able to do, and it's something that potentially NPCs will be able to do is find new paths between systems that are not at that main stable jump point, that highway, like there's back roads basically. And then the other thing is that the exit point we've talked about a little bit is, I'm not sure, I'm going to stop there.
Fair enough.
Vale. Efectivamente, o sea, la pregunta dijeron de por qué la UE no pone un bloqueo bestial en los puntos de salto, pues directamente no la puede contestar. Dice que se para ahí. Y lo único que nos comentaba es eso, efectivamente, que los puntos de salto pues tendrán sus diferentes calidades, diferentes variaciones, diferentes tamaños, y que efectivamente se podrán encontrar por los jugadores. La verdad que eso va a estar bastante interesante, porque, bueno, pues ya sabéis que hay a sistemas que en principio vas a tener que encontrar un punto de salto adecuado para determinadas naves, etcétera. Veremos a ver cómo funciona, la verdad que hay muchas ganas de verlo. Aparte de eso, Discord nos estaba contando al final del tema de la CitizenCon, de que tendremos, sabéis, la CitizenCon el 8 de octubre, que revisamos la web de la CitizenCon, que lo hemos hecho al principio del directo, ¿no? Que va a ser todo, pues, todo sobre Pyro. No va a haber keynote, es decir, normalmente en la CitizenCon aparece un apartado que es el keynote, en el que aparece, pues, Chris Roberts hablando sobre el proyecto y tal y todo esto. Y han dicho que en esta ocasión, pues en principio no lo va a haber, según comentaba Chris Roberts en la carta que hizo en mayo. Y debido a que, bueno, pues están embarcados con el tema de sacar el PES adelante, de sacar el server mesh y bueno, pues de sacar el juego, ¿no? Que están en un momento crucial, crítico para el proyecto, en el que tienen muchísimo curro, ya lo sabemos, y lo vamos a ir viendo a medida que avancen estas semanas. También nos ha comentado el tema de que de cara a febrero nos iban a comentar sobre la comida de Pyro, que no sé si lo comentaba antes, nos iban a hablar sobre comida y movidas que están haciendo, ¿no? De cada febrero del año que viene. Y nada, pues que estemos atentos también a el viernes que viene. Nos van a hablar sobre todo el tema este del PES y realmente en qué es lo que va a aportar el Star Citizen, y que dice que, bueno, que es más que aportar, es el futuro, ¿no? Es lo que va a permitir que se haga Star Citizen. Y ya. Y yeah. Y yeah. Buena música que cuando... Bueno, si alguien saluda y no lo puedo saludar, ya sabéis que cuando estoy haciendo estas cosas pues tengo que estar pendiente a lo que dicen, porque si no, no me entero. Porque doblar en directo pues tiene sus movidas. Vamos a... El resumen Sir Officer luego lo voy a subir. O sea, le voy a hacer un destacado y lo voy a subir y lo puedes ver ahí tranquilamente. A ver. Tengo que hacer aquí esto. Sí, siempre